Good evening. Over the last 5 days, people in Bhutan and around the world have greater admiration. 29 women and men taking part in the first ever snowman race. Congratulations to you all. This was by no means for the faint-hearted. You have worked and trained incredibly hard for this, and to His Majesty and me, you are all winners, and we couldn't be more proud of you. I also want to use this opportunity to thank all the organizers, health workers, their SUPs, armed force personnel, international production team, radio operators, timekeepers and volunteers who have worked tirelessly, often through the night, to ensure that the race was a success and that at the end of each day, all our runners were comfortable and safe at camp. Thank you all. I remember many years ago when His Majesty first spoke of starting the Royal Highland Festival and the Snowman Race. His Majesty travels the length and breadth of Bhutan and has spent time in some of the most remote pockets of our country. Both the Royal Highland Festival and the Snowman Race were born out of His Majesty's love for the people living in these remote communities and the nature that surrounds them. These are some of the most remote villages with a simple way of life that has remained unchanged for decades. The people who live at the threshold of melting glaciers contribute the least to climate change, but are the first to see its devastating impact. Inspired by His Majesty's vision to protect our environment, the majestic mountains, the fragile glaciers, the pure air and the pristine forests that lie along its trails, the Snowman Race highlights the impacts of climate change and the urgent need for global action. Climate change is real and affects everything on our living planet, from human beings to flora and fauna spanning land, air and water. We are witnessing extreme weather events on a global scale, which we can only expect to become more severe, devastating countries and communities all over the world. The increase in the intensity and frequency of natural disasters like fires, floods, and droughts are affecting the world at large. Countries like Bhutan, with the smallest carbon footprint, are facing the grave consequences of climate change. Our glaciers, which are the world's freshwater reserves, sustaining billions of lives, are fast disappearing. Bhutan has 567 glacial lakes, of which 17 are potentially dangerous due to global warming. The 1994 glacial lake flood, which caused so much devastation, remains fresh in our memory. Climate change, along with unsustainable economic growth and consumption, continues to accelerate biodiversity loss at an unprecedented rate. The 2020 Global Living Planet Index shows a 68% decrease in vertebrate population between 1970 and 2016. Many of these changes are irreversible. This climate action conclave comes at a crucial time when global reform, shared commitment, and joint action are urgently needed to address the rapidly escalating climate crisis. The toughest challenges require our greatest effort. Our hope is that all participants, athletes, experts, and climate champions will be able to share their experiences, their expertise, and ideas for all of us to collectively join hands in our fight against climate change. You have shown tremendous strength and endurance to make the first edition of the Snowman Race a success. Let us carry the same spirit of courage and determination to address the climate crisis, for the survival of our planet and humanity is what is at stake. Thank you all and Tashilele. Good evening.